Okay, so Kim Kardashian and Lewis Hamilton are serious. Like, actually serious. This isn't a summer thing. This isn't one of those soft launches that quietly evaporates by October. And if you've been watching this woman as long as we all have, you already know the difference between a man she's enjoying and a man she's building something with. This is the second one. Just look at how fast it's moved. They start the year at the same New Year's party. Then there's this quiet little weekend in the English countryside that nobody was supposed to find out about. Then a private jet to Paris, as you do. Then the Super Bowl, sat right next to each other in public in front of everybody, which for Kim is basically a press release. Then he hard launches her. Then Monaco, where she's in an F1 paddock for the first time in her life, and he thanks her by name in the press conference afterwards.
It's amazing to have good people around you and good people supporting you, and she does that for me every day.
Then the lake house in Idaho with all 4 of her kids. Then a whole tropical trip with his niece, his nephew, and his brother in the pictures. That's not dating, babe. That's a merger. Lawyers get involved in these. And there's one word still missing from all of this, which once you notice it, you can't unnotice it. Lewis Hamilton is the only one of these two who's actually opened his mouth about any of it, and he picked the most public room on the planet to do it in. So he's just finished second at Monaco, tied Ayrton Senna's record for podiums there, and he's sitting in the press conference when somebody asks him about his high-profile supporter. Now, normally, deflection. Drivers do not do this. Instead, he says it's amazing having her there, that it's amazing having good people around you, and that she does that for him every single day, on camera, in Monaco, on a podium weekend.
It's amazing to have good people around you and good people supporting you, and she does that for me every day.
Then, a few weeks later at Silverstone, a broadcaster says something about him seeming happier lately, on and off the track. And Lewis goes through all the Ferrari stuff and then just tacks on 4 words at the finish. Of course it's Kim.
We want to be, of course it's Kim, so.
And listen, back in February, this same man told reporters his private life was private, and he wasn't discussing it. 4 months later, he's crediting her at a Grand Prix. That's a whole personality transplant. Something happened between February and June, and it happened fast. Kim Kardashian has never once confirmed this out loud. Not in an interview, not on a podcast, not a single quote anywhere. And I need you to sit with how weird that is, because this is a woman whose entire empire is built on telling us things. So what has she given us? Photos, a heart eyes emoji he left on one of her posts, a carousel of the 2 of them cycling around New York with a 1-word caption, a tropical photo dump with a little rainbow reference in the caption. That's it. That's the whole statement about a man she's been with for 6 months. And honestly, smartest thing she's done in years. Because a photo can't get clipped and stitched into a breakup montage. A caption can't get replayed at you on a podcast in 8 months when it all goes wrong. She's given her audience everything they wanted to look at and left herself absolutely nothing to walk back. She's not being shy. She's being careful. And after the last 15 years of her life, can you blame her? I certainly don't. Kim Kardashian kept Lewis Hamilton out of every single Tokyo post back in March, even though he was on the whole trip. This is my favorite detail in the whole thing. He was there. Spring break, her 3 younger kids, Chloe and her kids too. He got filmed in a sneaker shop with Saint. Fans spotted him in other people's footage, obviously, because they always do. They're better at this than the paparazzi. And then Kim posts the entire trip, and he's just not there. Not a shoulder, not a hand, nothing. Now compare that to July and August, where he's front and center, holding court with everybody's children in her carousels. That gap, that's the actual story. Somewhere between March and June, somebody decided he was allowed to exist publicly. And on that account, there's only one person who makes that call. He'd already hard launched the pair of them back in April. Ferrari video, her in the passenger seat telling him it's insane. She waited until June. She always waits. And she's basically never wrong about the when. That's the whole skill, really. Lewis Hamilton has now done 2 separate family holidays with her kids, which is the bit the insiders keep circling. Over July 4th, they were at her lake house in Coeur d'Alene with all 4, North, Saint, Chicago, and Psalm, plus Chloe and hers, and he's out there wake surfing. Then August, the tropical trip, 3 of the kids, Chloe's 2, and his own niece and nephew. His brother Nicholas was there too. So we've got both families mixing now, kids on both sides, which is a completely different animal to getting papped outside a restaurant at midnight. You can undo a dinner. You cannot undo a group holiday with 7 children in it. And here's a tiny thing that got to me more than any of the anonymous quotes flying about. Right after her grandmother passed at 91, Lewis posted from that lake trip with a caption about holding your people close. Didn't tag her, didn't make it about them, just said it. That's not PR. That's just a man who's in it. Kim Kardashian and Lewis Hamilton knew each other for years before any of this started, which honestly explains the speed of it. When the first reports crawled out in February, the wording was that these 2 longtime friends were exploring something romantic. Longtime friends. So this was never 2 strangers meeting at a party. This was a slow build that finally tipped over. And look where they both were beforehand. Late last year, she sat on a podcast with Khloe saying flat out that she hadn't found anyone, and that it was fine. That's a woman who'd stopped looking. Meanwhile, he's had exactly 1 serious public relationship in his entire adult life. Those 8 years with Nicole Scherzinger. And since that finished, he's kept things so locked down that people genuinely assumed he was done with all of it. And then this. She's 45, he's 41, they've both been famous since they were kids. And there is nobody else alive who understands that specific problem. That's the actual appeal here. It was never the cars. Khloe Kardashian has been on every single one of these trips, and that is a much bigger deal than it sounds. She was in the paddock at Monaco, she was at the lake house, she was on the tropical trip with both her kids. In that family, Khloe is basically the vetting department. So if she's turning up with her own children in tow, he's been cleared at the highest level. Kourtney's a fan of him too. And then there's the Kylie footage, where Lewis is filmed driving her about in an off-road buggy at her 29th birthday, which is such a specific tier of family integration. That's not boyfriend behavior, that's brother-in-law behavior. Because here's the thing about dating one of these women. You don't date one of them. You get absorbed into an entire operation. The group holidays, the matching photo dumps, the sisters, all of it. A lot of men have not survived that process. He looks completely relaxed in it, which either means he's the real thing or he's a very fast learner. Kim Kardashian is not engaged. She's not planning a baby, and there's no custody situation, whatever your feed's been shouting at you this month. Let me just clear the decks, because the second a story like this gets traction, the junk shows up. The friends with benefits framing, the engagement hints, the secret baby plans, the stuff about custody and changing the kids' names. All of it traces back to the same handful of outlets, recycling one anonymous person who may not even exist. So here's what's actually solid. They're together. He's confirmed it twice, on the record, with his own mouth. They've holidayed with both families. Everything else, the serious, the end game, the he sees a future with her, that's all unnamed insiders talking to magazines, which isn't nothing, but it isn't proof either. So watch her, not the headlines. If she keeps turning up in that paddock for the rest of the season, that tells you more than 50 sources ever could. And if the posting quietly stops, well, you'll know that too.